Hey guys, what's up? This is Teddy Macedo, aka bearRimshot's speaking. Sorry I am months late with this vlog. Now for those who have missed me doing a special vlog, I bet you're all probably going to be asking me what happened to me with doing special vlogs ever since the new year just began ignoring update vlogs. Well, if I can be very honest with you people, with you guys, and no, it's not that I refuse to, it's just that, well, you see, ever since the new year began, let alone the last time I did a special vlog in the form of, of, um, Super Smash Con, things happen. And I mean, things happen. I had personal matters to attend to. I had family matters to attend to. Also, I've also been much busy doing work on casual reviews with bearRimshot. Since I know there are those who are so excited in me making my first ever countdown for casual reviews of bearRimshot. And also, another thing that also happened since the new year just began, let alone the last time I made a special vlog, would all come down to the fact, well, I've been hanging out with some friends doing fun things one way or another, and also the fact that, well, I've been going to a lot of movies. Usually at my local Alamo. And funny enough, I tried going to see Avengers Endgame at my Alamo earlier today, but unfortunately, tickets were sold out. Considering the fact, well, to keep this long story short, I really wanted to use my birthday my free birthday ticket I received in honor of the victory program. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. Enough said. Keep this long story short. Stuff happened, you know. Every weekend, I've been much busy doing things, you know. Now that I have some time to spare, let's get on with the thought. In honor of the release of Avengers Endgame, might as well talk to you guys about what are my thoughts on your Comic-Con 2018. Sorry you're late with making this, but late is better than ever. But here we go. Okay. Now, when I went to Comic-Con at the Westchester County Center, I did see some familiar faces, mainly people I personally knew at my second high school, being St. Chris. And in case if you guys haven't, and also another thing that also happened, I did commission a drawing of Jane. And now scratch it. And, I mean, yeah, I did commission someone to draw Jane for me, as in Jane from Return to Neverland. And then, yeah. However, guys may be wondering what happened to me in regards to going to the other Comic-Con set in White Plains. Well, I will admit about myself that last year I personally tried to go to White Plains Comic-Con, you know, the one set at the White Plains Library / Galleria Mall. However, at that time, I was personally invited just by my ex-girlfriend to see her in a show. Now, guys, but for some reason I was invited by my ex-girlfriend Carly Horowitz to see her in a show. Now I know what all of you are probably going to be thinking right here, after having me to mention that I do have a girlfriend, regardless of what I include in my crossover projects. What the fridge happened between me and Carly? Well, if I can be honest with you guys, I can say this for a fact that, no, people, that means you, Eldon, this is not another Azuchi Guardian situation in this case at all. Far from that, actually. It's just that, well, to keep this long story short, outside of having to see her Project Search lately as I'm currently recording this, she hasn't been dating me as much as I wanted to. Outside of Project Search, I haven't been seeing her as much as I wanted to. Also, another major factor that resulted me and Carly to break up with each other would all come down to the fact, well, whenever I feel like running this one movie night I wanted to run at my house, Carly outright refused to join me. I'm not saying that was a bad thing at all, far from it. What I'm trying to say here is that Carly is not as big as a film buff or as big as a video gamer as I am. You know? And you guys may be wondering, what is this with this movie night I wanted to run at my house? Well, let's just say, well, there's this one stop-motion animated movie I wanted to show in my house. It's called Early Man, which I will say I absolutely enjoyed, since it is indeed from the makers of Wallace and Gromit. And when it comes to showing Early Man in my house, fun fact, I was supposed to show it to the folks at this other program I'm in called Tic Tac Go. However, because the person in charge of Tic Tac Go himself, Brendan Klein, refused to allow me to show the folks at Tic Tac Go Early Man in my house, yeah, this is why I had no choice but to consider showing Early Man to the folks at to all my friends at Project Search. And yes, even including some alumni, mainly the ones that I'm personally close with. But yeah, which is a total shame that Brendan refused to allow me to show Early Man to all the people at Tic Tac Go in my house, considering the fact, well, it is worth noting that according to the poll itself, Early Man was actually the winner of that same poll I made for members of Tic Tac Go to be able to vote for. Not Ready Player One. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Ready Player One, but still, if more people want to see Early Man, let them watch Early Man if they want, you know? And besides, it is worth noting that this is a movie that is indeed considered to be from the makers of Wallace and Gromit, you know? For Christ's sake. Not only is Early Man considered to be from the makers of Wallace and Gromit, but also Early Man is considered to be from the makers of Chicken Run as well. Also, another stop-motion classic Aardman made. But, yeah. So to keep this long story short on what happened to me between me and Carly, there was not only was there the factor of me not seeing her as much as I should have, let alone wanted to, but also she hasn't been interested in partaking in several events I want to do, like when I feel like doing this movie night I want to do at my house, here at my house. But at the end of the day, at least with Carly on her part when I decided to break up with her, at least with Carly she managed to mature nicely. At least she was smart enough to mature nicely, even more so than Azuchi Guardian, because when I broke up with Azuchi Guardian years ago, all Azuchi Guardian wanted to do is nothing but be a big baby about when I want to move on from him, you know? Anyways, now let's get on to what happened to me last year at New York Comic Con. Okay. Before I do that, there's another thing I need to talk about. And no, people, it's nothing to do with Azuchi Guardian in this case. It's something much even better worth talking about. What is it, guys may ask? Well, let's just say I'm pretty sure all of you or for those who did go to San Diego to Comic-Con, and since you guys know how much I love Star Wars, up to the point I would consider including Star Wars characters in my crossover projects, I bet you're all probably going to be asking me what do I think about the idea of Star Wars The Clone Wars returning after its cancellation back in 2013, as well as a sixth season being released exclusively on Netflix back in 2014. I'm going to be honest with you when I say this, that when I first heard the news that Star Wars The Clone Wars will be returning, I feel so happy to hear that such a thing would happen to Star Wars The Clone Wars, because when I've personally got to watch Star Wars The Clone Wars, I think it's an absolute great show, in my opinion, you know? And when it comes to Star Wars The Clone Wars, well, I'm happy that after Disney decided to wrongfully cancel Star Wars The Clone Wars, Disney managed to bring back the show, you know? Considering of how when I've personally watched a grand majority of the show, back when I was personally editing casual reviews of bearRimshot's, what is a public apology, if you're a Star Wars fan watching this who personally felt how dissatisfying the ending was when not just watching all the way up to season 5, but also even going all the way up to season 6, I can totally see where you're going because, well, yeah. Based on how I, as a Star Wars fan, feel the series finale for Star Wars: The Clone Wars should be handled, it should be done in a similar manner of what happens with Star Wars Clone Wars. Because, let's be honest here, the only reason why lots and lots of Star Wars fans loved Star Wars Clone Wars is not only does it have not only does the animation there look so amazing, since it's created by the same exact man who also worked on Samurai Jack, but also, to make matters even better, story-wise, things ended off perfectly. And I mean perfectly, up to the point that story-wise it would even lead up to the events of Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, which is something I would have wished to see when Disney, which is something I would love to see coming from Star Wars The Clone Wars as well, you know? I am not going to lie to y'all when I say this when it comes to Star Wars The Clone Wars, that I really do hope that things end on a perfect note, like not just what happened with Star Wars Clone Wars, but also the same with Star Wars Rebels, from my understanding, you know? I want the story from Star Wars The Clone Wars to end on such a perfect note that it would lead up to the events of Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, the same exact way based on what happened to Rogue One to Star Wars Episode 4 New Hope. Yeah, and speaking of which, I just wish it if Disney can revive more canceled projects, you know? Like Peter Pan 3, for example. I've been waiting for years to come even up to this day, you know? And because that Disney Toon Studios is now closed, and sequels to Walt Disney Animation Studios movies, such as Return to Neverland and The Lion King 2: Simba's Pride and The Jungle Book 2 are all not considered to be part of the Walt Disney Animated canon. Yeah, you know, it would be great. It does. Ever since when I first heard the news that Disney Toon Studios sadly closed down, I've been asking the same question all over and over and over again. How will Disney be able to make, say, movies like Peter Pan 3, The Jungle Book 3, and The Lion King 3, as well as a hand-drawn animated Winnie the Pooh Hanukkah movie? And if I can be very honest in why I would ask such questions in regards to the future of doing Disney sequels, when it comes to making future sequels to Disney classics and making all the... If I can be honest with why I would question for all these projects to come, well, if I can be very honest, well, here we go. While I do get that if Disney ever wants to make either a third Fantasia movie or a Wreck-It Ralph 3 or a Zootopia 2 or even a Tangled 2 that's fully computer animated, next thing you guys know, chances are, considering the fact that films like Fantasia 2000, Ralph Breaks the Internet, and Frozen 2 were all done under Walt Disney Animation Studios, well, this could mean then most likely if Disney ever decides to make either a third Fantasia movie, a Wreck-It Ralph 3, a Frozen 3, or a Zootopia 2, or Tangled, or a fully computer animated Tangled 2, they would understandably done by, considering, if I can see I can understand how films like Wreck-It Ralph 3, Fantasia 3, and Zootopia 2 would all be made well. They would all, because that all sequels to computer animated Disney movies would typically be released under Walt Disney Animation Studios. This would mean that, such as Ralph Breaks the Internet and Frozen 2, this means, as well as Fantasia 2000, this means that if Disney decides to make either a third Fantasia movie or a Wreck-It Ralph 3 or Zootopia 2, this means they're all going to be done under Walt Disney Animation Studios. Whereas with the cases of ideas like, say, Peter Pan 3, The Jungle Book 3, or The Lion King 3, or Mulan 3, or even Dumbo 2 of all movies, as well as a sequel to Walt Disney's adaptation of Alice in Wonderland, as well as a Winnie the Pooh Hanukkah movie. Well, yeah. Realistically, though, to be fair, at least we've got Disney Plus to be able to do all that stuff, You know, when it comes to Disney Plus, as much as I'm happy they're able to go into the entire back catalog, and keeping my fingers crossed that while we also be getting more episodes of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, that we will also get to see ideas such as Peter Pan 3 comes to light today, the Jungle Book. Hopefully they get to bring back the ideas of a Peter Pan 3, a Jungle Book 3, a Lion King 3. Ignoring Lion King 1.5. Don't worry, I still enjoy Lion King 1.5 anyways. As well as a Mulan 3 with Eddie Murphy reprising as well as Mushu. And as well as a Winnie the Pooh Hanukkah movie. And if I could be very honest on how it would be a great idea for Disney to consider making a Peter Pan 3, a Jungle Book 3, a Lion King 3, and a Winnie the Pooh Hanukkah movie, but with the cases of Peter Pan 3, consider what an amazing sequel Return to Neverland turned out to be, Yeah, it's too bad they couldn't bring back the crocodile, but at least you got Jane, who was very likable. And with Peter Pan 3, it would definitely be great. It would be great if they can do this, if they can make it as good as, if not better than Return to Neverland. Hopefully, please bring back the crocodile for once, and more importantly, have Jane's daughter Moria as the main character. Whereas with the case of Jungle Book 3, I actually love the idea of Shere Khan's redemption over hatred over humans. And I really like and it's really no surprise for me to hear that Corey Burton would ever consider voicing Shere Khan, considering the fact that he was previously voiced by Tony Jay, And there was definitely, I'm going to be honest, definitely a missed opportunity for someone like Corey Burton to be able to voice Shere Khan in the Jungle Book remake, considering what a great job he did impersonating Tony Jay in things like the Kingdom Hearts games, for example, for characters such as the Magic Mirror and Judge Claude Frollo, And ever since when I first heard the news that Tony Jay is dead, I just knew from the get-go that Corey Burton would be a great fit for impersonating Tony Jay. Considering of how that Well, as I mentioned in What is a Public Apology, I did point out that, that when he voiced that the reason why Coy Burton would be a great fit voicing Tony Jay would be the same reason why, considering what a great job he already did voicing Christopher Lee, considering of how, as I showcase in casual reviews of What is a Public Apology, both Tony Jay and Christopher Lee both sound alike in a nutshell. But because they're both British men, British actors, who normally speak baritone, And I know you'd be thinking I can do a baritone voice, Morgan, but I don't do baritone. Sorry. I'm not the right person to look for if you're looking for a baritone voice in your voiceover project. Whereas with The Lion King 3, I haven't seen The Lion King 2 Simba's Pride in all honesty, but I've heard good things about it, which will explain why I would consider watching it as part of my Disney movie marathon for casual reviews of bearRimshot's The Top 11 Dumbest Kingdom Hearts Moments. For right now, I'm still in the 70s right now, watching Pooh's Heffalump movie, and next comes the 2011 Winnie the Pooh movie, and then time to get into the 80s. So the only 80s movies I'll be watching are Tron and Little Mermaid. Also counting its respective sequels, Tron Legacy and Little Mermaid 2, Return to the Sea, then time to get to the 90s. But yeah. And, yeah. As for the idea of a Winnie the Pooh Hanukkah movie, well, considering the fact that we've already seen Winnie the Pooh celebrate Valentine's Day, Halloween, Easter, Thanksgiving, and Christmas on screen. However, did you guys know that there's a book of Winnie the Pooh that exists where Winnie the Pooh and the gang literally celebrates Hanukkah? I am really not making that up at all. A Winnie the Pooh Hanukkah book, literally licensed by Disney themselves, really does exist. If you guys don't believe me, go look it up for yourself. It exists. Which can mark a really good reason why I feel Winnie the Pooh should get his own Hanukkah movie, though it would most likely better off be done either as a direct-to-video movie, or most likely, since home video sales are not as good as a streaming, let's just hope it comes out as a Disney Plus movie, At least realistically, in all honesty, And now, time to get on to my thoughts on New York Comic Con. Here we go. Okay. Now, when I went to New York Comic Con last year, I was only able to go there on Saturday and Sunday. Why is that? For Thursday and Friday, I had work to go to. As for what I did over there, well, here are the following things I did. First off, thing I like to mention is I went by to Capcom. When I went by to the folks at Capcom, I told the folks at Capcom how much Chun-Li should not be able to get her own amiibo figure, but also I not only told Capcom about how much they should allow all their games to get the amiibo support treatment, including all the Street Fighter games coming to the Switch, but also another thing I told Capcom is to have Chun-Li be in Super Smash Bros. Because the thing about Chun-Li is the fact that, well, you can't deny that she's such a major crossover icon, and she's one female video game character carries game history. And let's be honest, out of all the Capcom characters that exist, not yet in Smash, this is one Capcom character who pretty much meets the criteria of what makes someone Smash-worthy, Shiraji, when it comes to a character like Chun-Li, Shiraji in a video game, and she carries game history by not only having to regularly appear in several crossovers, such as all the Versus games that Capcom themselves would make, as well as in movies such as Wreck-It Ralph and its sequel Ralph Breaks the Internet and Ready Player One, but also having to be the first ever female character to originate in a fighting game, Which definitely does explain why I feel would make perfect sense if someone like Chun-Li can make it in Smash one way or another as a playable character, you know? And besides, if an amiibo figure of Chun-Li ever gets to be made, I just have to be sure to buy with my own money, just like what I would with both Ryu and Ken. And speaking about toys to life, well, I did run by to the folks at Funko for the first time. And I personally did advocate to Funko about of how that they should get into the toys to life video game business. And the reason why I've been claiming how much Funko should get into the toys to life video game business one way or another would come to the fact, well, as you guys can probably tell based on how Funko is as a merchandising company in general, you guys can tell that taking a look at the entire toy lineup they have to offer, they're able to appeal towards all different ages. And they own literally every single license to make to do certain things with those for particular franchises creatively. Like, for example, say the folks at Funko want their toys to be say Funko wants to get into either the animated movie business or the video game business or stuff like that. Well, chances are, if Funko were to do a crossover movie in the veins of the Lego movie, or a Toys to Life video game, they wouldn't just be able to tackle things that, Lego would normally say yes to, like Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, DC, or even, they wouldn't just do things like Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, The Simpsons, DC, Scooby-Doo, or any of that stuff, pretty much. But also, at the same time, they would have no problems doing things that contain mature content like Mortal Kombat, Halo, God of War, Family Guy, South Park, Rick and Morty, or that kind of stuff as well. It is worth noting that can even do things like, they have no problems doing things with, like, like Looney Tunes, for example. They're able to do things like Shrek, Kung Fu Panda, and other stuff as well. And also, they could even do franchises that little kids love, such as Winnie the Pooh, Dr. Seuss, My Little Pony, Sesame Street, or even Blue's Clues of all things as well. That's what I exactly love about Funko, and even Dante would have loved to see Funko get into the Toys to Life video game business as well, Plus, another good reason I feel Funko should get into the Toys to Life video game business. Now, when taking a look back at games such as Disney Infinity and LEGO Dimensions, you guys can probably tell that, yes, the folks at both Disney and TT Games made a lot of mistakes when making those particular games. However, that should not excuse the fact that there's a lot of mistakes being made in those particular games that the folks at Funko could have literally learned from, one way or another. Like, for example, they should not only be able to balance heroes and villains, but also male characters and female characters, and also, when considering of including Disney characters, they should not just heavily focus on its newer releases, but also welcome characters from older Disney movies and older Disney TV shows as well. Because let's be honest, the only reason why Disney Infinity ended up being a disaster was all coming down to the fact, well, as you guys can probably tell, when Disney decided to include their more original characters for Disney Infinity, we only got to see nothing but their newer releases at the time, and not much of their older movies, Which is a total shame, since you have a lot of older movies that a lot of people like myself like. Which includes movies like Snowy Seven Dwarfs, Pinocchio, Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, Return to Neverland, Sleeping Beauty, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, The Lion King, just to name a few. Also, another thing I'd love to see coming from if Funko ever gets into the Toys to Life video game business would include one including characters from Disney movies that sadly got live action remakes such as Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, as well as Beauty and the Beast, The Jungle Book, or whatchamacallit, as well as Winnie the Pooh, as well as Aladdin, and even Dumbo of all things, of all tunes. It would be great if they could acknowledge more of the original cartoons and maybe their sequels than their live-action remake counterparts, you know? Like, for example, if the Jungle Book ever gets any Funko Toys to Life figures, please let it be based on the characters who played either in the original Jungle Book or its sequel, The Jungle Book 2. And yes, I don't mind it if a Toys to Life figure based on Shanti from The Jungle Book 2 exists. And once the live-action Peter Pan remake comes out, please include characters from either the original Peter Pan, or most likely also at the very least include characters. Especially, you guys should include characters from the original Peter Pan. If you guys want to include beyond the original Peter Pan, at least welcome characters such as those who first appeared in Return to Neverland, like Jane, for example. And I'm still waiting for Jane to get more merchandise, get more love in general, not just within the world of crossover media, but also within the world of merchandise in general. And yes, I wouldn't even mind if Jake and the Neverland Pirates do get the Toys to Life figure treatment as well. Yeah. But, yeah. If Funko ever does a Toys to Life video game, and they're considering including characters from Disney movies that got live action remakes, please give us more Baloo's and Maleficents. When I say that, I mean give us more cartoonish versions, such as the originals and their sequels, if got any, instead of the live action remake interpretations. Whereas with the cases of things like Marvel and Star Wars, I do wish it if they can balance both heroes and villains with this one. And another thing with the use of Disney characters in a Funko Toys to Life video game I'd love to see that could have been learned from when making a Funko Toys to Life video game would be balancing heroes and villains, as well as male characters and female characters, just as much as, say, with newer Disney movies and older Disney movies, while ignoring the live-action remakes. Also, another thing I'd also love to see in a Funko Toys to Life video game is when we speak about the use of cartoons such as The Simpsons, Family Guy, or Scooby-Doo, and that kind of stuff, I would absolutely love it if the folks at Funko can balance both male characters and female characters. Which means, in this case, for Scooby-Doo, don't just give us Shaggy and Scooby, but also please give us Velma, Daphne, and Fred. Whereas for the case of The Simpsons, don't just give us male characters like Homer, Bart, or Krusty. Also, please give us Lisa and Marge as well. Whereas with the case of, say, Family Guy characters, don't just give us male characters like Peter, Chris, or Stewie. Also, please give us characters like Lois and Meg. Yeah. That's how, and also, I also love to see the likenesses of several Dr. Seuss, Winnie the Pooh, Sesame Street, and My Little Pony characters. Especially considering the fact that there are people within the Epic Battles community in general who actually admire the ideas of such characters popping up in crossovers. Same with Blue's Clues as well, you know? And when considering Sonic characters in a Toys to Life, when including Sonic characters in a Toys to Life video game of Funko, please don't make Sonic the only character appearing. I want to see more we Sonic fans want to see more Sonic characters than just Sonic. We want to see Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, Amy Rose, and Dr. Eggman getting Toys to Life figures as well. And when considering Fighter characters for Toy Story Life again, please don't just include Ryu, but also you may include Ken, but also please give us Chun-Li as well, you know? Since I'm still infuriated about the fact that we still haven't gotten a Toy Story Life figure of Chun-Li, nor any additional Sonic characters even up to this day, you know? And, yeah, you know? And, and in regards to when I suggested the folks at Funko to make a to get into the Toys to Life video game business, there's something else in regards to that particular moment I need to address. You guys know these moments where, you guys would see me regularly claim that Azuchi Guardian would do anything to illegalize the idea of preschool characters popping up in crossovers, including as Toys to Life video games? Well, despite of Azuchi Guardian's efforts in attempting to illegalize such an idea, let alone silencing people to use such a creative idea in general. Turns out, if what Azuchi Guardian thinks about the idea of including preschool characters in crossovers, including a sorts of live video games, is actually false, well, let me tell you, I just knew from the get-go that, based on what Azuchi Guardian said about such an idea, it turns out to be a major fat lie, you know? Definitely can, and I bet you're all wondering, how would I know Azuchi Guardian would ever dare claim such a thing, that it's claim that he would illegalize the idea of preschool characters popping up in crossovers, including sorts of live video games? Well, if I can be honest on my part, well, let's just say, not only were there moments when Azuchi Guardian felt like trolling me for being a brony by regularly telling me that I'm not a real brony, but also, by the time I personally became a brony over having the need to include some My Little Pony characters in Epic Battles, and following the successes of both Epic Battles 2 and Epic Battles 3, this is the moment where Azuchi Guardian would go do sexual things towards not just me personally, but also as I became a brony over having the need to include My Little Pony characters in crossover projects. That moment in my life definitely did get Azuchi Guardian to do sexual things one way or another to both Animat for refusing to include Return to Neverland in his top 10 best animated sequels, and Huey Tomore for refusing to include I'll Try in his top 11 tear-jerking songs in animated future. But also worth noting that another moment that got me the idea that Azuchi Guardian would consider illegalizing, that would claim that it would be illegal for such an idea to happen, would be in regards to two times when when Azuchi Guardian felt like trolling the hell out of my dear good friend Nicholas Centra. For those who don't know, there was once a certain time period. Yes, people, there was once a certain time period where Nicholas Centra actually liked My Little Pony. Now, for whatever reason, not anymore, and I'm not gonna lie to you all when I say that. That is a fact right here. Major fact. And then not only is there that got me the idea that Azuchi Guardian would consider illegalizing such an idea, but also there's also the factor, well, years ago, Nick made my best friend Nicholas Centra, aka Banana Gamer 105, once made a video where Sonic and Shadow both destroyed the windmill from the Teletubbies. And what did Azuchi Guardian do when he saw that? While I'm doing work on Heartless Winter? Well, let's just say, to keep this long story short, took the humor, he took the jokes in that video, he obviously took that particular video the wrong way. Go make up a political rant about it, and go spew venom at Nick for making such a video, which I'm still infuriated at for Azuchi Garden for doing such a thing, even up to this day. I'm not gonna lie when I say that, you know? And yes, people, this is pretty much how I got the idea that Azuchi Garden would consider illegalizing such an idea. And I swear to God, if Azuchi Garden's claims do come true, I swear to God I will go shoot myself for such a thing, you know? Okay, don't mean that, but still, you know? But in all seriousness, it's such a bad idea for Azuchi Garden to illegalize such an idea, you know? And when I've talked to the folks at Funko about what Azuchi Guardian is doing to such an idea, as well as others whose names I'm not going to mention, for I fear Azuchi Guardian is going to attack these people, tell me such things, well, when it comes to the moments on, say, why Winnie the Pooh didn't appear in Disney Infinity, as well as why characters such as Hello Kitty sadly did not get her own amiibo figure, as well as why characters such as Rita Rabbit, Eleanor, Hopsalot, Frankie, and CJ all didn't appear in Super Smash Bros. And no Nintendogs. I'm not talking about CJ from Grand Theft Auto. The CJ that I'm talking about would be the Green Frog from Jumpstart's second grade. Or if you're in the UK watching this, you may know it more as Jumphead Year 2. As well as why characters such as the Cat in the Hat, the Grinch, the Lorax, Court of the Elephant, Sam I Am, Barney, Cookie Monster, Elmo, Big Bird, the Care Bears, the Teletubbies, Sporticus, Stephanie, Robbie Rotten, Maisie, Arthur, the Berenstain Bears, Clifford the Big Red Dog, Blue, Dora the Explorer, and Little Bear, all those kind of characters all did not make their way, all did not get LEGO Dimensions figures one way or another. Thank God I don't have to blame Azuchi Guardian for all this. Well, considering the fact, well, the reason all those ideas in particular sadly did not come to life, it's not necessarily Azuchi Guardian, thankfully, who deserves it. It all depends on their respective rightful owners, you know? Yeah, whatever goes on with all these beloved characters named is more on their respective rightful owners. Not Azuchi Guardian, obviously. Because when it comes to Azuchi Guardian, he should be burnt in hell for doing such crap. But in all seriousness, yeah. What I'm trying to say here is that what goes on with all the Dr. Seuss characters is up to Dr. Seuss Enterprises to do such a thing. Unless you're willing to make a movie based on a Dr. Seuss book, you're going to have to go all the way to Warner Brothers for that. Or if you're really, really that desperate to make an interactive storybook game based on a Dr. Seuss book, you guys are going to have to go all the way to Ocean House Media for that. And speaking of interactive storybooks based on the works of Dr. Seuss, if you guys really, really loved playing living books so much, I really, really highly recommend you guys to go sign my petition to get the folks at both Ocean House Media and Dr. Seuss Enterprises to be able to allow the folks at Wonderful to be able to re-release the Living Book Suits games as Wonderful titles, you know. The link will be down in the description below, and this is a must-sign for not just Living Books fans in general, but also this includes Dr. Seuss fans in general, as well as parents and even teachers. And please say those who teach at least those who teach either preschool or elementary school in general at the very least. those are the people who should sign my petition, you know? So if you're either a Living Books fan, a Dr. Seuss fan in general, a parent with a kid who's currently either in preschool or an elementary school, or a preschool teacher, or an elementary school teacher, or a reading teacher in general, I encourage you all to sign that petition and share it around with your family members and your friends, and yeah, and all those other people. Yeah. And whereas whatever goes on with Winnie the Pooh is more on Disney, more so than on Zoochi's Guardian, whereas with the case of, say, things like Sophia the First and Dr. McStuffins, also more on Disney, more so than on Zoochi's Guardian. Whereas with the case of Arthur series, let's go other than Mark Brown, or unless if you want to show any episodes of the Arthur TV series that's been on television since the 90s even right up to this day, you guys might as well go all the way to PBS Kids for that. And whereas things like Blue's Clues or The Explorer, Go Diego Go, Little Bear, or even the Teletubbies, you guys have to go all the way to Nick Jr. for that. Whereas with things like Sesame Street, you guys might as well have to go all the way to any of the following parties: HBO and PBS Kids. And yes, people, even if you can watch Sesame Street on HBO, you guys may also watch it on PBS Kids. You guys can go to PBS Kids to get permission to do something with Sesame Street creatively if you wanted to. And if you guys don't believe me, last week I went on the Sesame Street website sharing some wonderful feedback in regards to Cookie Monster. And yeah, according to the website, PBS still owns all the rights to Sesame Street even up to this day. I am not making that up at all. It's a fact. And PBS Kids would also be the perfect place where you want to do where, say, you want to make a TV where you want to do things with the cat that knows a lot about that creatively. Go all the way to PBS Kids for that. Seriously. And, yeah. In all seriousness, yeah, I just knew from the get-go that Azuchi Garden would have lied about when it comes to the use of preschool characters popping up in crossovers, you know. And when it comes to including them in fan-made crossover products as well, that still shouldn't be anything wrong with that, actually, you know. For I'm currently making a Steamed Hams dub based on My Little Pony. And if you guys don't believe me, well, once it comes out, you'll not only see that it's there, but also, to give you all a heads up, based on what the Steamed Hams My Little Pony dub should start off with, there will be a disclaimer in the beginning of that same video. And yes, in the veins of what happened with the classic Warner Brothers cartoons featuring ethnic or racial stereotypes. And I know what you're all probably going to be thinking. Why, oh, why the fridge would I consider including a disclaimer in the beginning? I'm not doing anything offensive, right? Well, not really, no. And no, people, there's nothing sexual shown in that particular video, nor is there swearing. So you guys don't have to worry about. So if you guys can't handle mature content, things like sexual content or swearing or blood or crap like that, there won't be any of that. That's not. And besides, it's not really an issue on why I put a disclaimer in the beginning. The only reason why I would consider doing so is because, well, to keep this long story short, when it comes to those moments whenever I feel like doing something with My Little Pony creatively in the past, I would be considered as one of those people in general who are always going to have to deal with the fact that there'll be those people who would go do sexual things towards me for doing such things one way or another. Let alone get criticized over that. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to say this. You see, not only is there Zuchi Garden who would do such crap to me when I felt like doing something with my opponent creatively, but also you have Ethan Brown who would do the same crap, and Mr. Harden who would go do the same crap to me as well, you know? That's why I never really liked the idea of including my opponent character in my crossover parts in the first place. And as guys can probably tell, the reason why I would have to put a disclaimer into my Steamed Ham's My Little Pony dub is because, well, and no, there's no mature content showing up, no boobs, nothing sexual, no curse words, no blood, nothing that, could get me up to an R rating or crap like that. But rather, much more for safety reasons on my part. Considering the fact that when I have the need to include My Little Pony characters in my crossover projects in the past, I always have to deal with people like Azuchi Guardian, Ethan Brown, and Mr. Harden who would go do sexual things towards me one way or another. And yeah, thank God Ethan Brown is already in jail for doing such crap. But yeah. As for anything else I did at New York Comic Con last year, well, yes, I did. I also went to the Square Enix booth. And, and I've been telling them how much I want to see the day where Sora gets to rescue Jane in Kingdom Hearts. Now, when I say Jane, I'm not, please do note that I'm not talking about Jane from Tarzan. I'm talking about, of course, of Jane from Return to Neverland. And, I'm going to be honest with you guys when I say this, that I'm really, really getting sick and tired of Disney in general mistreating the character of Jane, Considering of how likable she is, and I'll definitely be sure to put the links down in the description below. But yeah. And and speaking of which, what I've been advocating to the folks at Disney Publishing to make more Disney astrology books, Because the thing I absolutely loved about the book Disney Astrology is the fact that, well, as you guys can probably tell, Disney Astrology is the book where you get to find out the birthdays of your favorite Disney characters. I just absolutely wish it if Disney can do the same thing to all their villain characters, to all the villains, all the animated villain characters, plus TV characters too, That is something I'd love to see. And I'm not going to lie, I don't want to say this, I always wanted to know the birthdays of several Disney villains plus TV characters as well. Including Gadget from Rescue Rangers, I really, really want to know what is Gadget's birthday really, really badly. Hell, I definitely want to know the birthdays of all the Disney villains, Not just the ones coming from Walt Disney Animation Studios, but also including those from Pixar plus Disney Toon Studios as well. And even Pete of all Toons as well, Yeah. And speaking about Disney books, and have you guys heard about this Disney Encyclopedia book that exists? Well, I'm definitely happy that they acknowledge some of their more obscure movies like The Black Cauldron or The Great Mouse Detective or The Rescuers Down Under, any of those stuff. At the same time, it really, really does bug me that they didn't bother including any Disney Studios movies, and when they do, they're only going to focus on nothing but the Planes movies. Both of which I consider crap. I just wish it if Disney can do more work can give more of the pre-2008 Disney Toon Studios catalog more love. Because let's be honest here, that when it comes to the pre-2008 movies, there are a lot of good ones worth watching, you know. Not only is there Return to Neverland I love watching, but also including The Jungle Book 2, Lion King of Thieves, The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, The Lion King 1.5, Cinderella 3, Toys in Time, Bambi 2, just to name a few. Yeah. It's no surprise that Anime would not only consider including at least some Disney sequels to be part of the top 10 best animated sequels, not just including movies like The Rescuers Down Under, Fantasia 2000, but also including those like Lion King and the King of Thieves and The Lion King 2, Lion King of Thieves and The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, and even critics like Phantom Strider and Jammerwiki would even consider talking about not just what they consider to be the worst of the Disney sequels, but also the best of their respective parts as well. Which is something but yeah, it'd be really, really nice if Disney can bring Jane more love, considering the fact that when we discuss the movie that she's from, Return to Neverland, while it may be true that it didn't get to be part of the Walt Disney animated canon, at the end of the day, Return to Neverland got to be one of the very few Disney sequels to see a theatrical release, and also, Jane is that likable, you know? As for other things that happen, well, I tried seeing Arthur Parsons, but for whatever reason, he wasn't there, which is a total shame because I wanted to advocate to the folks at Traveler's Tales, such Warner Brothers Interactive, to be able to allow amiibo support for all the LEGO games coming to the Switch. Also, I miss LEGO Dimensions. I'm not gonna act like it's perfect, but still, it could have had its potential to be a great game. But for whatever reason, it sadly didn't. You know, at least there are some toys and LEGO Dimensions figures I need to buy with my own money whenever I'm ready to do so, including all the DC characters, all the Scooby-Doo characters, all the Simpsons characters, Sonic, and all the Harry Potter characters, and possibly all the Lord of the Rings characters, and all the Teen Titans, and all the Powerpuff Girls as well. But, yeah. And, what else did I do at New York Comic Con? I saw Joe Dunn, and I did commission him a drawing a while back. But after that, for whatever reason, in case you were all wondering what happened to Joe Loves Crappy Movies, he retired from doing that, but instead doing Family Matters or stuff like that, you know? Which is a total shame. I really liked Joe Loves Crappy Movies. But, yeah. And, anything else I did interesting worth mentioning? Oh, yeah, right. I'm not sure if I talked about this last time I did in your Comic-Con vlog, but here we go. Did I ever tell you guys I did participate in this panel where, talking about this Disney manga that exists called Kililala Princess. I'm gonna be honest, I definitely would love it if they don't just focus on more popular properties, but including more obscure as well, you know? And now I still haven't read Kililala Princess yet, but I'd be interested to since I love Disney, including the good old princesses. Good old beautiful princesses. And I guess, by the way, one more thing I'd like to mention is that I tried participating in the Ralph Breaks the Internet event they're going to have, but sadly I had to miss out on that because I had Project Search at the time, and also tickets were sold out on that same day. That pretty much closes my New York Comic Con vlog. Again, Sorry I'm late in with this special vlog. And to anyone wondering what's with the beard, and no, people, I'm not gonna have my beard on for when I do filming for casual reviews of bearRimshot's the top 11 dumbest Kingdom Hearts moments. Considering the fact, well, when I did have my beard on in preparation for filming for casual reviews of bearRimshot's, what is a public apology? I personally got a lot of hate for having such a thing on me. Which, like I mentioned before, the only reason why I needed a beard for the filming for casual reviews of bearRimshot's was a public apology will be for a subject matter issue. Basically, it would have been, considering the fact that it ties in with Epic Pals, I would have been doing a WTFU on, and we finally reached the end of the video. Again, sorry I'm late, and I'll see you in the next upload. Bye.